So let's go ahead and get started. I want to be mindful of your time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everyone see the PowerPoint? I'll make it larger, but I just want to make sure you can at least see it for now.
I can see it.
Okay. There we go. Okay. So welcome. Thank you all for joining. So if you haven't heard, let me make sure it's recorded. Hold on just one quick second. And then Robert, do you want to give them a quick overview of everything? Because what I'm going to also do is try to go live on Facebook. Can you give me a second?
Sure.
Okay.
So what we're kind of doing is we're doing away with green sheets. We're going to have another month of duality with green sheets. But for the most part, green sheets have been live. Most market centers are kind of using them. So we're a little bit late to the game, but a lot of the kinks have been worked out. So the nice part about what's happening with us using commissions now in Command is that our reports will actually light up and work. So we'll be getting meaningful data in the reports tab inside of Command. Also, from what I'm hearing from most agents across the nation, really, is the green sheets are pretty much a snap to use. So it should be a good day, not necessarily a bad day. The mechanics of it are a little bit different for our transaction coordinators and or those folks. They'll just have to, instead of going to the internet and pulling a green sheet for anybody, kind of carte blanche kind of deal, they actually have to get into your Command and work your commissions tab within your Command. So if you're using a TC, just keep that in mind. No big deal. They're already aware of it, and we're working with them as well.
So as soon as I get confirmation we're live, we'll be good to go. Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Hey, Robert. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So I'm a TC now, and I did not get the information for this. It was sent to me by the person, the person I TC for.
Sure.
So is there a master list, or who do I need to let know to let me know things?
We've got you on our list right now, and we'll be sending you information either before or just after this meeting.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert. I'm in the same boat as Michelle.
Sure.
Can you put me on that list as well?
Actually, can you guys do this? It would be better if you can put it in the chat, and that way we can save the chat because I'm the one that sends out the information. So that would be helpful.
Be glad to.
Thank you.
Like
all right, can you all see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, thanks so much. So like Robert said, we are doing a training. Wanted to also reiterate that number one, the actual commissions tab, which Robert alluded to, that will eventually be combined in terms of offer and commission. The actual completing of the tab is super simple. So it'll take maybe 2 to 3 minutes, assuming that you have all your data. But what we wanted to do was make sure that you understood kind of the system behind the commissions tab. And then we're also going to reiterate some best practices. So that will be the purpose of today. So as Robert already mentioned, these are key updates that we will continue to blast out to the agents. So effective getting ahead of myself, February 1st, commissions tab is live for Maui. We, as Robert already mentioned, the commissions tab has been live for several months now, and other market centers are utilizing it. However, Maui has not. The beauty about this is that we've kind of allowed the other market centers to kind of tweak and kind of have more frustrations than what we will have. So they've kind of worked out a lot of the bugs for us. So we will be live for Maui February 1st. As it relates to green sheet submissions, they will end on February 28th, which means that moving forward, March 1st, we will no longer accept green sheets. They will be retired. They will be gone to better pastures. So in terms of the goal today, so it is open, this training is open to all agents, whether you call them transaction managers, TMs, or TCs, transaction coordinators, it is open to all. This session and then also Thursday will be recorded. I will hopefully get the recording out within 24 to 48 hours. You will also have a copy of this PowerPoint slide, and then I will also send you a detailed instruction that's a verbal or written how-to. So depending on if you are more visual and the video will be helpful, and or if you're more, you need something in writing, we'll have that as well. So training is primarily geared toward the functionality of command. So we're specifically today talking about the functionality. We will also give you helpful hints on who to contact. And then in terms of operation, this is just an FYI only. If ever you are in command and you're having issues, it's glitchy, check and make sure, first of all, you're operating in Chrome. The second thing is you can also double check and make sure that if you still continue to have issues and you're in Chrome, then try incognito window. And so I will show you, because my laptop has been acting up lately. So we might be in incognito inadvertently once we get to command. And so the agenda will talk about best practices in terms of third-party apps, best practices in terms of workflow, and then best practices as it relates to buyer and listing side. So I will do the buyer side, Robert will do the listing side, and we'll kind of have an ebb and flow between the presentation today, and then we'll have Q&A. So any comments or questions? Anything you want to add, Robert, before we get going?
No, actually, I'm probably going to run over while you're doing the buyer side and quickly do a listing with a couple different buyer, setups. So that's about how long it takes. So it's pretty quick. So hopefully I'll stumble through it while you're doing yours, and you'll do the heavy lifting for me so that it's really easy on my side. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. So the foundation, the key thing, two things that we want to make sure that we're very clear. If you have not, it is going to behoove you to track your numbers and your data, since now we're going to commissions, because everything is going to be at your fingertips in terms of your production, being able for you as the agent to monitor your own production. Because in times past, you had to go to the MCA to get all your production data. Now you'll be able to get that in command. So that's an amazing transformation. So the other key that I want to stress is, if you have not entered your 2021 goals in command, please do so. It is based on the MREA model. However, you can tweak it according to your markets, i.e. whether you're in Maui, Kauai, Big Island, Hilo, and or Kona. The other thing is that everything in commissions begins with a contact. So it's important that you make sure you have all of your contacts in your database. So workflow. This workflow tells you every aspect of the commissions tab in terms of where it's pulling data from and how it functions and how they're all connected. So the green means getting paid. And so there's a lot of tiles up, but the green is the primary fundamental things that will help you move forward into commissions. So number one, everything begins with a contact. If you wanted to go that extra mile to increase your ability to move your opportunity within the sales pipeline, you can achieve 100% contact score. For those of you that don't know what that is, I'll show you that in a minute. Then from there, if you are on a team, it's very important that you understand that contact must be in the team profile. If you're an individual solo agent, this does not apply to you. But if you are a member of a team, you need to make sure that contact is within the team profile so that you can move forward in the offer and commissions tab. Then you want to create an opportunity. We'll talk about the best practice for creating the opportunity. So once you create the opportunity, then you're triggering that sales pipeline. And so manage sales pipeline as it relates to stages and phases. The phases are based on the MREA model, and you cannot change those. However, you can change and or add to your stages. So you can also create checklists and opportunities, which we'll talk about in a little later. Create an offer. So that, again, there's a green tab that you must do. Listings only, I do want to say this. Once the offer and commissions tab are combined, once you create the offer, you're going to be also linked up to commission. So it'll be a little easier. So you will have one less step to do. So you'll create the offer. From there, for listings only, whenever you have multiple offers for listings, you can now be able to compare them. So if you've got 3 offers for one property or one unit, as the commissions refers to it as, you can click on a button and be able to compare side by side, column by column, those 3 offers, and you can add in the pros and cons of each. So it's a very handy tool for agents and their VAs that are working with them in terms of being able to really get down to the comparison. And it's a very nice visual, and it's easy as a click of a button, and directly from there, you can email it to your contacts. So then from there, you add documents to an opportunity for compliance, which we'll get into in a little bit, and then submit for compliance. Based on the workflow grid only, are there any comments or clarifications that I need to make? A lot of this is stuff you're already doing, but we just wanted to make sure you understood how succinct and systematic this is. So things to consider for TMs and TCs specifically, you must have access to your agent's command. So you have to be in the agent's command. So making sure that you have their credentials, most of you already have it, but you will need to be in the agent's profile. You will not be able to do it within your profile. The other thing to consider is that right now, currently, we are beta testing the commissions tab just to checking for any glitches. We do have a few agents on the Big Island that we're working through. And so as we move through that beta testing process, if there are any other tips that we come across, we'll definitely communicate that. So then the commissions tab itself, when you're adding legal fees, we'll get to this shortly. You want to make sure you are in the E&O field, and I'll talk about that a little more once we get into the commission tab. But again, legal fees will go in the E&O field. The commissions tab, as it relates to notes, there's 2 places that you can, or let me back up. For notes, in terms of what your GET is, you will need to put that information in the notes. And once we go through the example, it'll make more sense what I'm talking about. As it relates to your productivity coach, if you have one, that fee also needs to go into the note section. For TM and or TCs, we can put them in the deductions, and I'm going to show you a tip to make sure that you have your TC or TM's name, their address, and everything in that field. You can put it in a deduction. The key thing with that is you want to make sure that when you enter, if you have a transaction coordinator and or manager in the deductions, you just want to make sure that their first and last name is in that name title. And I'll explain that a little more. It'll make more sense once we actually get to the actual commissions tab. Any clarifying questions so far about things to consider? All right. So compliance, these are things that we want to be mindful of to make sure all of agents are doing. The first thing is this. Let me take a step back. Before we presented this training to the agents, we vetted this with the executive team and also your brokers. So all of this information that we're sharing with you has been vetted with the executive team and the brokers. And so they wanted specific things to be called out to make sure that we're all as a market center on the same page. Bottom line is we want to make sure you get paid as fast as possible. So the first thing that we wanted to highlight on behalf of your BICs is that update your opportunities weekly. So if you're not in the habit or have not been updating your opportunities, make sure that you do so. That means, managing your sales pipeline and putting that information in command. All documents within your transaction should be loaded in a timely manner. So don't wait to the last minute. Please don't do that. One of the biggest things, and one of the things that a specific BIC highlighted was this: when you are in the middle of your sales pipeline, in terms of taking that opportunity and turning it into closed deal, what happens is through that process, sometimes there are questions or problems, or I guess I shouldn't say problems, but opportunities to work through some things. And if you don't have your opportunities or your files updated, it makes it more challenging for your BICs to be able to not only assist you, but assist you in a timely manner. So making sure that you're always, as soon as you get updated docs, please upload them, make sure that your BIC has them so that they can help you. And then so keep your timelines also up to date. One of the other things was that sometimes we're seeing that agents may have their documents up to date, but not necessarily the timeline. So making sure that you have both your docs up to date and your timelines up to date. This helps everyone. All files must be submitted to the compliance officer 5 days prior to the close of escrow. Please, please, please adhere to this, because we do not want to have your check delayed for any reason. So just making sure that all of your necessary paperwork is in a timely manner goes a long way. So the day of closing, submit the final day of closing documents, such as your final closing statement, satisfaction, so forth and so on. Just making sure that you get all of that in a timely manner. And then after close is also crucial as it relates to now that everything is moving to the commissions tab. You want to make sure that you update and or move the opportunity to a closed status within command. So after the close, making sure you officially take that opportunity and mark it as closed, because that's also going to give you a more accurate picture of your production and where you are, because everything now is being fed through command. Any additional comments, Robert? Am I good? Do you want to add anything that I missed? Or
I think you're good. The note that you said about the BIC, you know, if you have questions in the middle of a deal and you don't have your documents uploaded and you're asking your BIC and the BIC goes into your file and looks for those answers, then they can't find them. They can't help you. So, or they're gonna delay because you need to get them information to answer the question. So, yeah, good point.
okay, thanks. All right, so need help. We want to make sure that we're very clear about where you can get your help to expedite the entire process. So how the commissions tab works, i.e. the functionality within command, you can email us at techconcierge102@gmail.com. I will either answer, or there will be an out of office reply for you to connect with our fabulous Robert. In terms of specific questions about what information to include in the commissions tab, you need to reach out to your broker for that. Compliance questions, you can reach out to Michelle Del Rosario. And then getting paid questions, you can reach out to MCA/Shelby, and that email address is there. So we will send out this slide, so you'll have all of that. But the bottom line is, whenever you get into a situation where you need help, we want to make sure you know where to go, because we don't want to have you going through 50 people to try to get to that one person that you need. So we wanted to try to be as clear and succinct in terms of where to go for help. Anything that needs to be clarified on